Hello there, welcome to the Football Bloc. My name is Brandon, and today we're going to look ahead to the second round of UEFA World Cup qualifying, and I'm going to give you my predictions for who I think the final few European teams to make it to the World Cup will be. Now, in my last video, I did a much more broad overview of all the World Cup qualifying confederations, and I'm going to react to that video when all World Cup qualifying for the most part is done. But I felt that I needed to do this video here just to predict these specific games, given that it's sort of like a tournament, it's like a final. Now this video will be a little shorter than usual because, as I said before, once most of these World Cup qualifying games are done, I'm going to go back and look at the entirety of all the confederations and see how my predictions for those went. But without further ado, let's get into it and predict these final few matches. So anyway, as you can see here on my screen, we have the three paths, Path A, Path B, Path C, and each of these will have a final match, and then the winner of the final match will go to the World Cup. However, there is only two games that we will be predicting in this video, as current geopolitical events happening in the world right now means that Ukraine cannot play Scotland. That match has been rescheduled to June, but nothing has been confirmed yet. And then the winner of that match will play Wales in that final, whenever that final will be. Again, we don't even know if this match will ever be played, but if it does, I personally think Scotland is slightly better than Ukraine. And then if you have a hypothetical match between Wales and Scotland, that one would be pretty tough to call, but I would lean towards Scotland. But of course, we'll look at that game when it comes, if it comes. Now on to the next path, we have Path B, and then the first match we have Russia versus Poland, and obviously for the aforementioned geopolitical events in the world right now, Russia has been banned from FIFA and UEFA, so Poland automatically qualified to the final. And then in the other match, we had Sweden versus Czech Republic, and in a really tense affair, Sweden overcame the Czechs 1-0 and advanced to the final. This match was a pretty tight match. It wasn't the most exciting match. Both teams defended well, but attacking-wise, it wasn't the most exciting. But that is mainly due to injuries. For example, Patrick Schick was injured, and he is Czech Republic's most talented forward. But when you look at both Poland and Sweden up against each other, I think this match will be similar to Sweden's previous match against Czech Republic. Now, it is hard to judge Poland, considering we didn't see them play against Russia, but these two teams did play each other at Euro 2020 in the group stages, and Sweden came out 3-2 winners. And while I don't think we'll see as many goals in this match, I do think the outcome will be pretty much the same with Sweden going through. Sweden overall are a very strong team, a very resolute and solid team. They have, a very competent back line. They don't concede many goals, for example. Now, going forward, they aren't the most exciting, but they still know how to win games, and they do have some talented forwards, for example, Alexander Isak. Compare that to Poland, and Poland is pretty much a one-man team, all centered around, of course, Robert Lewandowski, who's one of the best players in the world. And unfortunately, it's not like how it was back in, say, Euro 2016, when Poland did have a strong enough team to build around Lewandowski. Nowadays, if Lewandowski's playing good, Poland play good. If Lewandowski's playing bad, or if the Polish players can't get the ball to Lewandowski, then Poland play bad. Now, I don't necessarily think that Sweden has talented enough defenders to completely mark Lewandowski out of the game, but I do think that they have a competent enough defense to stop the Polish players from getting the ball to Lewandowski, which would stop Poland's game plan dead in their tracks. So with that in mind, I'm going to say that Sweden go through 1-0. Not a completely dominant performance, like they're not going to blow out Poland or anything like that, but Sweden will be the better team. Now on to the next match, we have Portugal versus North Macedonia. And this particular matchup is crazy because most people, including me, were expecting Portugal to be playing Italy. For example, I had already been preparing a prediction, fully expecting the match to be between Portugal and Italy. But as you can see here, Italy were shocked by North Macedonia, losing 1-0, meaning that Italy will not qualify for the 2022 World Cup, meaning that they will miss back-to-back World Cups for the first time in football history. Now, we'll get more into this match in depth in the next videos, and in videos in the future, because this is just such a crazy result. But to summarize it briefly, Italy didn't necessarily play bad against North Macedonia. I think that they were by far the better team. They had much more chances and much more possession. They just weren't clinical enough. And then North Macedonia had one really good chance. They took it and they scored. In all honesty, I think you can basically chalk up this defeat to bad luck. Italy weren't playing bad. They don't have a bad system. They have good players, but all their best players were either injured or out of form. And unfortunately, it all happened at the same time and at the worst possible time. Credit to North Macedonia, though. They had a plan, they followed it to a T, and now they find themselves with a chance to make it to the World Cup. On to the other match, the other semifinal. We have Portugal versus Turkey. And this match on paper looks like it was a really easy result, Portugal winning 3-1. But while watching the game, it wasn't necessarily the easiest win for Portugal. Fernando Santos actually came out with a more attack-minded formation to the surprise and to the joy of many Portuguese fans. But it wasn't necessarily because he was changing his system to be more attacking and less pragmatic, but more so because there was so many injuries and suspensions to his defense. And you could really see that on the pitch because Portugal going forward were great. They took a 2-0 lead through Octavio and Diego Jota, but defensively they were very, very poor. And Turkey actually capitalized on numerous mistakes from Portugal. In fact, almost all of Turkey's chances in the first half, at least, didn't necessarily come from Turkey creating them, but more so Portugal creating their own mistakes. Turkey mounted a comeback in the second half, and Burak Yilmaz scored one, and then he had the opportunity to make it 2-2, but he skied his penalty over the bar. And then in the chaos after that, Portugal was able to score a third, punching their ticket to the final. Now, when you look at these two teams, Portugal versus North Macedonia, I still think that it's pretty obvious that Portugal will win this match. I do not think that lightning will strike twice, and I do not think that North Macedonia will be going to the World Cup. That being said, I do not think this game will be easy for Portugal, as North Macedonia is going to do exactly what they did against Italy. They're going to try and frustrate Portugal, and then they're going to try and hit them on the counter. But Portugal seemed to, at least at the moment, have a far more clinical attack than Italy. So I think that will, in the end, prove to be a difference. I think it's going to be, say, 3-1 to Portugal. I do think that North Macedonia may get a goal, considering how poor Portugal were defensively. But in the end of the day, Portugal will go through to the World Cup as deserved winners. And even though North Macedonia won't make it to the World Cup, they can hold their heads up high as they played very, very well, not just in this qualification cycle, but over the past few years. So anyway, guys, that has been my predictions for these final few matches of UEFA World Cup qualifying. I'm saying that Sweden and Portugal go through, and then if the other final is ever played, I'm going to say that Scotland go through. But let me know in the comments below what you think is going to happen. Do you think that Lewandowski is going to have the game of his life and Poland are going to go to the World Cup? Or do you think that, say, North Macedonia is just going to catch Portugal off guard and then they're going to qualify for their first ever World Cup? Let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure to like and subscribe. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. My name is Brandon. This has been the Football Bloc, and I hope you guys have a nice rest of your night.
Zidane!